Hey everyone, this is Sarah from sarahannCreations.blogspot.com. Today I'm doing my very first video tutorial and decided I would share with you how I'm making my own wedding invitations. Now, ever since I got engaged in August, I have been scouring the internet looking for ideas and different ways that other people have made their own wedding invitations. And I've had no luck. I've only found businesses trying to sell you their wedding invitation kits where you purchase it, get it home, put it together, and then send them out. So I wanted to share with you how I made my own. Now, my wedding is in October of this year, and I decided to go with more of a fall-themed wedding. Now, regardless of what theme your wedding is, this invitation can be suited to your needs. It's a 5x7 standard invitation, and it has 3 layers to it. It has the back layer, which is black. Now you can use any colors you want. It's absolutely up to you. Mine is black. Then the second layer is a color, something to accent what my theme for my wedding is. And then the top layer is my printed layer, where I put all my information and my design on top. So let's get started. Like I said, this is a standard 5x7 invitation. So in order to make my invitation, you're going to need some basic black cardstock. Now, I just purchased mine from Joann's. It was extremely inexpensive, and you can get 2 invitations out of 1 piece of cardstock. It's a rather thin cardstock. However, once you put all your layers on it, it's hefty and it'll stand up fine when mailing. So when you get this, what you're going to do is cut it down to the 5x7 size. I do the long side first so that I don't have to make as many cuts. So you're going to measure it at 7, and you're going to just cut. And then you're going to rotate it and measure it at 5 inches. And then all I do is rotate it again so that I have one completely finished edge. Not all my edges are cut. So measure that at 5 as well. And it's as easy as that. Now you have 2 base invitations. Now, if you can tell on my other invitation, if you flip it over, it has a pocket on the back. I added this later after I cut all my other pieces, and I really think it's a great idea to have somewhere to put all that other information that your recipients might need, like your RSVP card, the map, the directions, any other information that is super important that you want to give them. So in order to make that, you just take another piece of black cardstock. Now this is a full sheet. You can easily go into your scraps and grab a little scrap piece, but this is what you're going to need to make that pocket. I want the pocket to be 3 inches. So I want to add a 1/2 inch to the bottom just so that I can fold it under and it'll make a clean pocket. So once you have the 3.5 inches, you're going to rotate it and cut it at a little less than 6, since you'll want a 1/2 on each side, but I don't want a full 5 inches because it will hang over the edge once you glue it down. So you're going to do a little less than 6 inches, and it'll look perfect once you glue it onto your cardstock. Okay, then what you're going to need is a scoreboard. You don't necessarily need it. You can use your trimmer and just use a bone folder to score it. But you're going to do it at a 1/2 inch, and you're going to do it on a 1/2 inch on the bottom, and then you're going to do a 1/2 inch on the other side. So you're going to do 3 sides with a 1/2 inch. Once you're done with that, you can put away your scoreboard. And then you're going to take your bone folder and crease your edges really, really well. You want to make sure they're nice and crisp. And once you're done doing that, I take a little pair of scissors and I'm going to snip the corners out, because you don't want to fold this up and then fold this in. It'll create way too much bulk on your invitation. So you're going to go to the corner, and I cut it a little bit of a diagonal towards the corner, like that, and like that, and just pull that out. And you're going to do the same thing on this corner, like so. And then you're going to do it on the tops as well, because you don't want those poking out once you create the finished pocket. And to close it up, I put some tape on the bottom of the edges. So I put the tape down here, and then I'm just going to fold this up. The reason why I fold the bottom onto the edges and not the edges onto the bottom is because you don't want whatever you put into the pocket to hit this ledge at the bottom. So after you do that, you're going to take a circle punch. Now this is 1.5 inches, that's all I have. So if you want smaller, go ahead and use a smaller one. But you're just going to cut a 1/4 of a circle or a 1/2 a circle, depending on the size of circle you have. Try and get it in the center as best you can. And then you're going to just attach it to your invitation base. Just use some more ATG tape. And make sure you have a generous amount on there. You don't want it coming apart on your recipient. So then you take your 5x7 invitation, and you're just going to line this up along the bottom and the edges. And if you look really closely, once you use your bone folder to make sure it's adhered well, if you look really close, you'll notice that you have a nice edge around the entire thing and nothing's overhanging it. Now you have a pocket for all that information. Now for the front, you are going to need your next color. So for my invitation, I picked reds and oranges. These are just some scrap pieces of paper that I have. Now, this is Roasted Pepper by Co'ordinations, and this is Scarlet by Co'ordinations. They're fairly inexpensive if you go when they're having a sale. It's like 5 for $1. So what you're going to want to do is, for this invitation, you're going to pick whichever color. You might have one color or you might have 5 different colors. Just pick whichever color you're going to use, and you're then going to cut it down to 4.5 by 6.5. That is going to be the next layer. I wanted a thick layer of black in the background, not a thinner layer. So once you have that, you're going to work on your next layer, which will be what you print out on your computer. So I have that right here. This is just trimmed down a little bit. It was an 8.5 by 11, and I just cut it right in half at 5.5. So, in order to trim the rest of this, you are going to grab your trimmer, and you want this layer to be 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And now you have your top piece. Now, how I made this printed layer was I originally was gonna just do a stamp. I was gonna use this exact stamp and stamp it right onto my printed layer so that it had more details to it. However, every time I stamped this, it never came out perfect. So all I did was I stamped a really good one, scanned it into my computer, and then I adjusted it with Photoshop. I colored it in and made it look like what I wanted so that I had a more consistent stamp look to my invitations. So that's all I did for that. And then I attached the image to my template that has who's getting married, who's hosting, where it's going to be. I just attached it to that template. Then all you're going to do is you're going to take this, once it's cut, and you're going to attach it to the colored layer. And just add a little bit more in between, just so that it doesn't come apart on your recipient. And I put this on the side so that I can see all sides of my piece of paper when I am layering it. That looks pretty good. Lay it down, smooth it out. Now, to add more detail, I wanted to add ribbon to my invitation. So, I am going to do what is referred to as the cheater method. You're going to just clip it so that you have enough to go and wrap around to the back, but not completely cover the back and come to the front. So I'm going to glue this down like so. Take the ribbon and you're going to line it up where you want it, and then you are going to flip it over and wrap it around to the back and attach it to the little glue that you just put down. Then you are going to attach the color layer to the black. You want to put some on the ribbon itself because once you have a little bit of dimension to it, it might not stick as well. So then you're going to turn this to the side and you're going to line it up like so. I'm going to turn it around, and then to add a little bit more, because we're never done, I take another little piece of ribbon, and you can add any other kind of details. It doesn't have to be ribbon. But I put the ribbon through, like I'm going to go tie a knot. Now you'll have one shiny side up and one dull side up. In order to get the shiny side back up, when you're pulling your knot, you're going to twist your other hand and pull it. So now you have the satin side back up. Then once you're done with that, I go back and trim the ribbon like so. And in order to keep the ribbon from fraying, because it will fray no matter what you do, you're going to lift this edge up like so, so that it's away from this other ribbon, because you don't want to melt it. You're going to heat seal the ends. And you're just going to run the flame across the edge really quickly, and it heat seals it and keeps it from fraying. So when your recipient opens your invitation, it will be perfect, just like the day you made it. And once you're done, that is what the finished invitation is going to look like. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that it gave you some ideas on how to make your own invitations. Well, until next time, bye!